I love to see you. And here we are. Woo! Well, hello, my darling Philip Morris.
Hello, Ona. Hello, Ona. Oh, see what I did there? I put it together. Say hello, Ona. Hello, Ona.
That's,
Hello, Ona.
that's really good. That was really good. Hey,
Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy Vision is Possible Wednesday.
yes.
Just having my cup of coffee. It's my cup of Java. Been a long day, but nothing that caffeine can't fix. You know what I'm saying?
He has no sense, everybody. Hey, everyone. Hey, everyone over there on Instagram. Let me make sure it's working. Yeah, we are on Instagram. And we are here on YouTube. Hey there, K9. What's up, Quentin? Hello, everyone on Instagram. I just want to remind you, I
Open
can't
up.
turn and wave at you
Oh,
because
Graham Ward
if I
Wilson, all the
do,
regulars, all the regulars. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
I'm
What's
going to
up?
do this waving. Do this waving. Well, Phil.
Yeah, we gotta figure that Instagram out, Iona. You can't be making excuses every week.
Well,
We
let
gotta
me
get
tell you,
we gotta polish it.
I just found out. See, I'm using my camera so we can go on Instagram, but I just found out that I can go on Instagram live through the platform we're using. So this week I'm going to be working on that, and I'm really excited about that. As you see, Phil is too.
Oh, I'm thrilled. I love Instagram Live. Quentin
Yeah.
Williams. No, there was no top on that coffee, but I didn't spill it either.
Well, you guys,
You guys.
let's get right to it with our wonderful guest, Barbara Bain. Just
Oh my goodness.
she's like it even makes me emotional. It's kind of she's like family to us. We've known
Ain't
her
no like
since we were
family.
little kids. So without
Definitely
further
family.
ado, let's play a video. Just introduce you to our darling Barbara. There she is.
Well, well, first of all, I get to catch up with you guys. And indeed, I just caught up with myself. So too much stuff, both of us, all of us, really splendid. I want to know who did the music to your intro stuff,
Uh,
your own stuff. Your
oh well,
husband?
no. I can't use him because of publishing rights. I'm working on that, but there is a platform I use
Oh, okay,
called
okay,
Epidemic Sound.
okay,
Why did
Yeah.
you
okay.
like it? Did you like the groovy tunes?
I did I like what?
Did you
Did you
like the
like the
groovy
tunes?
tunes?
I didn't hear you, baby.
Did you
Did
like
I
the
like what?
tunes? The
The
song?
theme, the music? I did. I like
Yes.
the rhythm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I did.
Yeah, Iona
I
picked
bet.
That's
some
why
good
I'm
music,
asking.
man.
I had a little beat going here, so it was good.
Shoot, you're a
Another little catching
dancer.
up prize who I've known most of my lifetime. Certainly
Yes,
Iona. Philip,
yes.
I haven't seen as much through the years, but Iona and I see each other a lot.
Yeah. We see
Every
each other
important,
through the
you
Actors
know.
Studio, which I'm going to get a chance to
Yeah,
get back to, and you're a dancer, and you're still taking dance class.
exactly. I still go to dance class. I did, yes, twice a week, even
Was
with a
that your
slightly broken
first?
healing. Pardon me?
Was that your first love? Performing
Yes,
love was dancing.
yes, yes. I fell in love with rather late at the University of Illinois. instead of taking PE, which I hated and still do, so all the people who go to the gym, forgive me. I wanted to get out of PE. I walked down the hall and walked into something called Orchises, which was named after a Greek goddess, which right away enthused me because I was a kid from Chicago looking for something exotic. Chicago wasn't very exotic. It was a big, noisy, dirty place. But Orchises, it was a modern dance group. And from that moment on, I have never been the same. And that's what led me to my whole life. I found a first love. And it's still a first. I always said I'm going to be buried in a wet leotard.
Well,
But
what
given,
about what about
sorry,
dance? What about dance connected so strongly with you? What moves you so
you
deeply?
know, it was the first group I danced with in Chicago was a German. There were a bunch of people. It was a German group that was out of the very early modern dancers, and they were very esoteric and very mysterious and very. I loved all that. That was like, ooh, you know, and the other group was a black group that a young man from Catherine Dunham's company was teaching. So I was the funny looking girl in front, and there were two other people from uh, the south side of Chicago, let's say, on the other side of me. And we had bongo drums, dance, and Congo drums. And it was wild stuff,
Mm.
just wild. Well, it appealed to my own sense of, I guess, freedom and excitement and music and just so exciting. And we danced. It was hard to dance in Chicago with a mixed group at that time. We weren't allowed to dance in a lot of places. And the young man who choreographed it, because I was in the center and sticking out, and we didn't decide to kind of color me up with some makeup or something, he noticed that everybody in the audience, 30 seconds, were busy punching each other and going, he said, now they got that out of their systems, let's dance. So we held
Nice.
every 30 seconds. We didn't move. We just held everything. And they looked, talked, nudged each other, and then we danced. And it was
Mm.
extraordinary. I just loved it. It was freedom. It's a sense of freedom, a sense of imagination, the music, everything about it just connected to me. I did not know that younger. I wasn't a kid in the ballet class or anything like
Mm.
that. This was my first touch with it. I got on a plane. I went to New York with about, I don't know, the roaring sum of about $100, which was somewhat okay in those days. And, found some work, went to Martha Graham studio and took class. And was just in heaven. I was just happy.
Mm. 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 Mm.
Everybody kept saying, people kept saying, come to be an actress. I said, I'm not an actress, I'm a dancer. And we were kind of snotty. That whole bunch was rather, we were about, we didn't do showbiz dancing, excuse me. We did concert dance. So we
Oh.
were a bit much. We had our hair pulled up tight, our noses in the air. Okay. And I don't know, I wandered into a day, acting class, and that was, again, felt like home for some incredible reason. I couldn't do it. I was not a natural born actress. I got up on that stage. Couldn't talk and walk at the same time. I really was like totally, but because it was really hard, I liked that because I
Mm.
was an A plus student, but I never felt I did anything ever. I just did it in 2 minutes, and everybody liked it, and I got an A. So what? It didn't feel like I had done anything. I did everybody's term paper at college. I mean, that was easy for me. I guess I was looking for challenges. And acting, the whole thing was a mystery, but I felt good there. And I had some exceedingly kind and wonderful teachers who put up with a girl who didn't know how to just say and talk and walk at the same time.
Mm.
So I studied for a year and a half. I never went out for an audition because I knew I didn't know what I was doing. But I did go out. I got my first 3 union cards the first week, my first 3 jobs: television, a movie, and a Broadway play. And I never stopped working.
Oh my goodness. How
I
now?
never had to I carried a tray to get through college. I supported myself through college. I
Mm.
did a lot of modeling in New York to pay for dance classes. I never had to take another job. I've been an actress ever since. But I was well
How
trained. I had
how
good
old were you?
teachers.
How old were you when the gravy train struck?
You know, it's hard to hear you, Philip. I don't know. It's my hearing, but I can hear Iona. But tell me again. I'm sorry.
I know you
What did
asked.
you ask me?
How
Huh?
old were you when you started working? Or as Phil put it,
Oh,
when the gravy train struck, how old were you?
my 20s.
Mm.
20s. Wow. That's even hard to contemplate at this point. I'm
Mm-hmm.
93 years old this week.
Mm.
20.
Woo-hoo.
Yes, 20s. 20s is a long time ago.
How did you
But
get
I was a very shy kid. You never know it now. But I was a reader. I read day and night. Everything that was any print, I would read. I read the cereal box. I read every book in the library. I just read. And I think all those characters that I read were very real to me, and they were part of later became my were there available for me. You know, I was every one of those characters. I was Bess of Tuberville. I was Anna Karenina. I was waiting on the train station, and he never showed up. I mean, I went through every drama that the characters did, and said that was kind of all in me. I didn't really know it as such. I had to discover all that. I had to discover my own imagination.
Mm.
And then in Chicago, the other place I went besides the library was the Art Institute. And it meant a great deal to me. I didn't know why. I just went in there, and there's this myself. I would get on the train, and the IC train, the Illinois Central train,
Mm.
and get off on 8, 9 years old. You could do that. And I'd go into the Art Institute, and it was so beautiful. It was this beautiful building, and it was marble and cool. And it had these things on the wall that were so beautiful. And Chicago wasn't beautiful for me. I saw the dirt and the noise, so much going on that was hard for a kid.
Mm.
I lived through. My parents came here from another country. It was the Depression. I lived through that. We lived through World War II. It was everything was pretty. There were a lot of challenges along the way, and they had to learn English. It was all complicated for them. I was the lucky one. I
Mm.
was the one who got to go to school and go to college and be born in America, which was
Were you an
pride,
only child?
highly.
Were you an only
I have
child,
a
Barbara?
had one brother. Yes, I had one brother. He's gone. But I was the younger sibling. I was born in 1931. The last thing they wanted then was another child because it was the depression. I mean, it was we had trouble eating. We had trouble
Mm.
staying warm. It was trouble. It was tough, tough, tough times. So,
Mm.
Mm.
but I weathered it all, found a way, and something about places like the Art Institute, which let me know, though I couldn't have articulated it at the time, that there was something wonderful possibly in the world, more than what was immediate apparent in the streets. Something,
Mm.
oh, but I couldn't have articulated that. If you asked me, what are you doing here, little girl? I don't know. You know.
but you had a feeling.
I didn't.
Oh,
You had something in you.
the arts were
Yeah, it
calling to
had
you.
effect. I mean, I didn't know what was happening, but I loved it. It was it was a sanctuary. It was
Mm.
Hmm.
it was
Who
very
encouraged
nice.
that in you? Who kind of inspired you to keep that lit?
Who encouraged you,
Why did
sweetheart?
I go to the Art Institute? I think my mother mentioned it, and that there was some big painting that she wanted to see, which I don't know if she ever got to see. She died very young, sadly. But
Mm.
I guess it was in home. My parents were very intelligent and they were very well read. Uh, so we had books in the house. That was the one thing that was very important, books. So I'm bookish. I'm kind of a nerd, if you call it that. We
Same
didn't have a
here.
name for it. You know,
Mhm.
Same here.
bookworm, I think they said. And kind of strong-willed, which
Mm.
nobody really liked. Strong-willed girl wasn't exactly terrific to have to be. And they had names for that. But I didn't pay attention. I thought, so what?
Mm.
That's okay.
Hmm.
So you
Good for
found that
you.
it was about being yourself. That was almost a superpower, right?
But I didn't know that. I didn't know much of anything. I just kind of found my way. And then when I found dance and acting, I was
Mm.
a passion. I'm still absolutely crazy about the work that I do. I've been
Mm.
directing a lot the last couple of years. I love working with young people. There aren't so many older that I am around. But, and from being the youngest person in the room, I was always kind of the smart ass young one. Now, I'm the oldest person in the room, and about that feels like half an hour. But it's fascinating, all of it. And I love the work. I still absolutely love the work and enjoy it. I'm very active at the Actors Studio, a lot of experiment.
Mhm.
We play around there a lot. I directed Iona there last year ago, and she's directed me in a play. So we've had a lot of interesting exchange through the
Mhm.
years
Mhm.
while working together. And I've gone to see everything she's done. I've known her since she was 7 years old, I want you to know. So and you were so grown up, I hardly knew you as well as I knew, you know, you were the big shot grown up. But you
Which
guys, it's
one,
hard for
Iona
Which
or
one?
me?
Yeah, which one? Which one was the big
huh?
shot grown up?
He was big boy, like, and you were a little tiny girl. He was the big shot brother, you know.
Well, when you're
There
the
you
only
go.
boy in a family that has
You
Greg
moved down
Morris,
to Palm Springs. You weren't even here. You weren't in
no,
city. You moved down, huh?
no, I was in the city. I just moved out of the house very young.
Mhm.
You did. Uh
I
huh.
did.
Uh, I
Hmm.
love
I had
your
to find
mama.
myself. I had to find out who Phil Morris was as opposed to Greg Morris's
Yes,
son.
I'm sure of that. I'm sure of
Right?
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I've done
Well,
it.
I knew your mom and I knew your daddy both. You know, and a lot of love there.
So
Wow.
sweet.
It's hard. It's so much stuff we have between us. A lot
Mhm.
of
Yeah,
stuff.
quite a bit,
Oh, Barbara,
quite
I
a bit.
remember meeting you. You just so gorgeous in Mission Impossible, and you were such a good actress. There was such a family that all of you created.
Yes.
I remember.
Well, Bruce was remarkable. Bruce Geller was a remarkable producer,
Mm.
writer. Everything he did, it was meticulous. He was very, very specific about everything he wanted. And he wanted your dad for that role. He fought with the network for him. He fought like crazy.
Mm.
And then I must say, during our early days there, before we were on the air, they were very worried about your father and me standing next to each other.
Mhm.
They came down with a lot of suggestions. it was a funny go because the times were very different. The year before, Cosby and Culp had done the first time they had a leading black actor, but it was a comedy, and they paired them up. Cosby was always with a woman of color, and he wasn't. That was the year before Mission. Nat Cole could not carry a network show. They wouldn't play Nat King Cole in the South.
Mm.
So we were right starting then. Nobody knows this time anymore, though some little reflections are happening at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But given that, Bruce wanted your dad. Bruce got your dad because Bruce was a very stubborn. He didn't. Interesting man because his when he got really excited, he would raise to about. That was good. He wasn't sort of a Hollywood creature where everything was fabulous and fantastic. No, Bruce hardly spoke, and when he did, he was very quiet. But he did what he wanted to do.
Mm.
And we could ask all these funny questions. Isn't it hard to like them together? That came down with that question. And Bruce said, no, it's fine, thank you. So it was just awful. And then we opened to a big hit, and nobody died in America. Isn't that interesting? Nothing
Right.
bad happened. The same people were saying, oh, we knew it would be a big hit.
Of
No
course.
riots in
Of
the
So
street
course.
after.
yeah, that was what happened. So we rode with it. Your dad was always asked the same questions, and I was always asked the same questions, and both of us got sick of the same question all the time. But he would be asked about being the first black man playing a serious role on television, and I would be asked, "What's it like working with your husband on television?" So Greg and I would say, Why don't they ask me your question? They asked you my question, but it didn't work out. We tried, but we laughed about it because what else are you going to do? You
Mm.
know,
Of course.
and what we had to do, that's what we did.
Well, Barbara, up to that
You
point, you'd worked quite a bit. Up to that point, you had worked
yeah,
quite a bit. What made this particular grouping of people so special?
probably Bruce. I would say Bruce Geller at the
Mm.
top, starting because he was so specific about what he wanted. We were in good hands, and we felt it.
Mm.
We just knew we were in good hands. I was, and I think Martin and I, coming from New York and being actors trained in New York, we both felt very embracing of anybody who came as a guest star because it's a hard position to be in when a thing has been established and somebody shows up for one time. Uh, I guess we just, both of us always had a love for actors. I mean, we just
Mm.
cared about actors. And we just all embraced each other. I don't.
Mhm.
It was, and then Bruce had that feeling from the top, so it was that closeness, that respect. Every
Mm.
once in a while, a director would come in and say something like something about the next script that they were going to do without a certain amount of respect for what it was television or something,
Mm.
and we'd correct them and say, "Well, that's not how we feel around here." So
So watch
we had a
yourself,
very
buddy.
close, huh?
I said, so watch
What?
yourself, buddy.
Yes, yes. So we kind of correct them. I
Right.
was, I think it was probably in the first season. They came and got me. Could I come on the set to off the set and go loop, to the of a piece of dialogue, clean it up, and I went. And what was it? And oh, I thought, boy, he's so particular. He's Bruce. That a certain way, and we did
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
So all those, and they had Lalo for the music. I mean, the whole
Mm,
thing was very beautiful.
Perfect. You had great writers,
Yeah.
some of the greatest guest
wonderful.
Yes,
stars in television
Yes.
yes,
history. You know,
Yes.
Luther
yes.
Adler. Come on.
You know, for uh, your dad's role, my role, it was not usual for a woman to have to be up there with the boys on an equal level. So that was when they went to cast it. Bruce had written Martin's role for him. That's how that started in a class. We were in an acting class together, and that Martin taught, and Bruce was there as a writer, and he wrote that role for Martin. In fact, it was
Mm.
originally called Martin Land, and it was changed to Roland Hand because it fit in the same type. That's how it was changed. Yeah, and he didn't tell me that he wrote Cinnamon for me. He said it kind of crept in, and then pretty soon there he was fighting with people to see me for the role because I had done about 10 television shows then. But, you know, the city, and well, who is she? Blah, blah. She's
Hmm.
not known. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
So I had to go through a whole process. And as you know, at the time, Lucy owned Desilu where we were. And I had to go meet with her
How
at
was
the end of
that?
it all.
What was that like?
Well, she, I've told the story. She was in a little bungalow, which is now reserved for mothers and children on the lot there. But that was Lucy's bungalow. So what they called me and said, you know, in those days they send a piece of film to somebody if you
Hmm.
just done something, and they would see it that way. But the last piece of film I done was a comedy, and I said, no, 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 don't send her a comedy, please, please,
Oh,
please.
yes, right.
Let me go meet her. I don't want to compete with her with a. Oh, I mean, who could anyway, you know?
Mm.
So I went. They let me go. I went in to see her, and she looked at me up and down and said, "Looks okay to me." That deep voice. Looks okay to me. That was it. Okay. So I ran out of there skipping and jumping and hoping it was true, and it was. And there we
Oh.
are, you know. So undoubtedly
Mm.
we would talk a lot about that time because that's what started us all together.
Mm.
Mm,
I love
That's a
mhm.
that.
long time, you know.
Were there what influences did you have? What actresses were there any who influenced your work?
Well, there were probably any number of them. There was a very funny lady in, I think, silent films, maybe early talking, named Lita Roberti.
Mm.
And she had this kind of weird rhythm and a funny little giggle going. And there was something about her that I liked. I don't know why. I felt like I kind of swallowed her a little bit, took her with me. Uh,
Mhm.
Oh, there were just so many wonderful, but most of them I didn't feel connected to as such. I had to find my way, but I was helped so much by Bruce
Mm.
Mm.
in that he called in a guy to like me. Like I was lit a certain way, I was dressed a certain way. People
Mhm.
didn't look like that on the street the way I was lit.
Mm.
Yeah. And he had John Alton in retirement, who was in Italy painting, who had written a book which is still used in the schools called Painting in Light, with Light in the film schools. He got John Alton to come in and light the pilot.
Mm.
And John Alton made one shot of me that Bruce said, that shot, I never want to see anything less.
Mm.
Thank you. I mean, who takes care of anybody like that? The way he lit me, and he'd say, if they're in a tunnel, put the cross light on the guys. Barbara, let the film students worry about the light source.
Mhm.
I wanted I wanted to look like that shot. That So I was incredibly lucky. I mean, who gets that kind of attention?
Well, we need
Mm,
champions, don't we? To really
mm.
Huh?
excel. I mean, we need champions in our journey. People who champion us, champion our talent,
Yes.
champion our energy. I mean, isn't that what you two guys? I'm not an acting coach nor a director, but isn't that kind of how you guys feel when you approach actors or you approach the work? You're their champions. You're their supporter. You're the ones who are rooting for them.
Yes.
Well, we have also the hired help. So it's got all kinds of duplicity to it.
And the
And
therapist.
you have to keep your sense about yourself, and not, read your own publicity because why? You're doing a job. It's a job, and it's a fun job, and it's a hard job. People don't know that, and they don't have to know it. 12-hour days are common, and even today, when I've done a film, I'm
Or
doing a
more.
film now, and I did a television guest shot that's been playing currently. It's a 12-hour day. They didn't make any special, adjustment to the fact I am playing an older person here, folks. They know that because casting me. But you're still going to do a 12-hour day.
Hmm. You
Okay. If you can do it. So far, I can still go the distance. Who
you were
knows?
wonderful. You were wonderful. I saw you in the piece you just did, and it just went out of my mind because I'm trying to remember so many things before that you did with Billy
Crystal?
Crystal. You were
Yes.
wonderful, Barbara. Just terrific.
Well, that's just the way, it's so well written, that piece. I was
Hmm.
so, when I got and read it, I went, oh, I want to do this.
Hmm.
Really, because it has a challenge almost every second, a lot of twists and turns, and I loved it. And I got on a plane, went to New Jersey. I don't like flying anymore, but okay. It was so good. Like, you get off the plane, you go to wardrobe, go to hair, you go to all these places, and then you go on the set and you do it. One day, did it all. I got everything I set out to do. I got back on the plane so happy with myself. I should have been arrested. Well, I thought, Jesus, I'm at the top of my game. And then I started laughing. Well, if I'm not at the top of my game now,
Right.
when is that going to happen? You
If
know?
I haven't been
So,
seasoned yet.
right. So, I have a sense of humor about myself as well as everything else. And that's what got me back to LA on the plane, laughing at myself, thinking, okay, smart ass, you did a good job. And I did. I was happy with it. And that's just a nice feeling. It
Well, it
really
sounds
is.
like sounds like you keep a pretty good sense of humor all the time,
Well,
for the
pretty
most
good.
part.
Look, I don't see a lot of, in the past, stuff in the past, but every once in a while something shows up and I go, oh, pretty good. I did pretty well. Even when I was shaking in my boots because I didn't know, you know. And Mission, even Mission was that cool thing
Mm.
that everybody responded to isn't really me. I'm a kind of heightened, I have a kind of crazy rhythm. My own rhythm is very erratic. And so it was kind of a character role, but nobody knew. Everybody thought I was so cool.
Oh yeah, you played her very chilly and
Yeah,
fabulous and
you fooled them
sexy.
to three
Yeah,
Emmys.
Three. Thank you,
yes,
Phil. Was
You
waiting for
fooled
that to
them
be
to
yeah,
three
but
Emmys.
who gets a chance that with a script within a script? I mean, I had a part. It wasn't fair to any other actor or actress in other words. It wasn't fair,
well, Barbara.
really.
I hate to
Yes,
interrupt you, and I understand what you mean because it was well written, but it was the way you played it. It was what you brought to it that made a difference. Someone else could have come in, and I'm sure there are many actresses we can think of who might have done a lovely job, but you just sizzled. You stood out. And it's a wonderful thing for women at that time because women didn't get those strong roles. They didn't get to be equal with the guys, right?
No, true. No, no. I played a lot of dumb blondes.
Mm,
I'm not dumb. I
mhm,
was
Oh,
blonde, but that was offensive to me. But I
mhm,
couldn't play that from an offensive viewpoint. I had to find a way to understand those dumb blondes. But that's what the casting was. You were either dumb blonde or a wife, and you stirred a pot and said, yes, dear, no, dear. That's what the roles were at the time. So there were an awful lot of dumb blondes. I mean, I played a lot of hookers and a lot of uh, gangsters, girls, but not a person who had intelligence. That's
mhm.
what Bruce was interested in me for. That I was good looking and smart. And he liked that. It was like a lethal combination to most people. They don't want to hear about that.
oh
Nobody
no,
wants to
you
hear
created
about
a television iconic type. You were the first femme fatale
Mhm.
on television.
Yeah.
I mean, you had guile, brains,
Mhm.
beauty. You were just as important as any member of the team, if not more so. But what I loved about your show, which not to bash him or anything, I just don't feel from the movies, is that if any element fell down, if your role fell down, the mission fell apart.
Mhm.
It wasn't as though any part of it was fluff or casual. Your
Mhm.
part was as important as Dad's part was as important as Peter's part was as important as Martin's. Everybody integral. And if you didn't hold up your end, the mission failed.
Yeah, I think I'll just sit here and listen to you guys saying nice
well,
things.
You
well,
were a pure
It's good.
team.
I
And
like
it was great
it.
what Phil says because you were a team on the show and you were a team off the show. It was a family you
Yes,
created.
yes. True, true. It's a very interesting thing. Whenever you worked with somebody, you have a bond. You have a bond with the other actor. 20 years can go by. You'll see each other. Hi, there's a big thing. I've spent some time with somebody who was not in the biz, rather, involved like a surgeon or another person who. He said, we never greet our old friends that way. What is it with actors? I said, it's not even an old friend. You face a firing squad together. I mean, an opening night,
Mm.
then you play 3 weeks if you're lucky. And it's like with whoever that person was, you're really, really bonded in a moment in
mhm.
time where you were both, in essence, at risk of a certain kind, and yet you made it. You're still alive on
Mhm.
the other side of it. So there's something about seeing each other later that's very different than most professions. Most professions,
And
you got to jump around.
the relationships we have to. Iona, is it still echoing?
Yeah, it's
Because
a
I turned it
little
down.
bit. It's an odd thing, sweetie pie. It's not
I
loud,
turned
but
it down.
there's okay. So
What I was going to say was the relationships we develop as actors are instant. I mean, I'm playing fathers to daughters that I've never met until I show up on set. I'm playing,
Yes,
brothers to people I've never met until you show up on set, or you
yes,
show up on rehearsal. And so the relationship you're having to create is not one born of years and years and years. It's one born
hmm.
of moments. And so the
Mhm.
intensity
yes,
of those relationships is much greater.
yes. And there's also you have exposed yourself to a certain extent behind that role, a part of you
Mm,
with that person. You've shared some
mm,
kind of very special parts of yourself that you don't go around in life doing ordinarily. You
right,
don't.
right.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah. You're vulnerable.
it
Yeah.
It's a very intimate career that we share with people we barely know.
There's a lot of
yes,
trust.
Yes.
A lot
Barbara,
of trust.
one of our regulars asked a question. Quentin wanted to know, did you ever work with Joan Crawford or Lauren Bacall?
neither. I met Lauren Bacall. I spent some time with her, but I did not know Crawford. They're a little before me, even though I've been here forever. They were just an edge before me. So Crawford was, by the time I came here, she was living in New York and kind of semi-retired.
Mm.
And Bacall was involved because she was married to Jason Robards. And Martin and Jason were very, very close in New York in their very early uh, when they weren't hired for anything days, and they would flip quarters on the quarters and say who was going to go on the subway. So they were very close, and when he married her, there was some time that we knew each other. Um, and politically, I think she was involved in one of the Democratic campaigns. Again, so long ago. But I didn't know her well. I mean, she wasn't a friend. I had met her. I've met so many extraordinary
Mm.
people from the time. Uh, but basically, I'm very family oriented. I had a family and a major career, so that was enough. That was a lot to do uh, simultaneously. And we all thought we women at the time thought we could do it all, and in fact we did. But it had its problems, no question, and challenges. Some were met and some were not. But if that was the time that we really thought we could do it all and tried to. So you know,
Darling, what keeps you going? You're 93. And
yes, ma'am.
I read a couple of things where you still have goals in mind. You still are working your tail off. What keeps you going?
I'm still cooking. Pardon me. I love the work. So somebody sends me a script and we go from there.
Mm.
Pardon me. Either to direct it. I directed 2 plays last year, one of which was the Christmas play again. And the other was a young couple from the Actors Studio who brought a project to me, and it was fabulous. We took it out of the studio and produced it, and it was just beautiful. And I love doing it. I just love every minute of it.
Mm.
It's like yum, yum, yum. I can't, I love watching it happen. I just go to a rehearsal and I watch and I say, "Ooh, what about this?" It's like this. I just love it.
Yeah.
Well, you saw
Magic. It's
me.
magic.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I can't help it. I see something being born, and I'm very
Mm.
excited about that. And
Mm.
I love
Mm.
actors. Actors are kind of the most courageous fools walking around. We're very courageous, and we're kind of silly in the long word, right? And yet, what we're trying to do and bring. Well, I just read today in the paper about Fugard died.
Mm.
That's
Atul
all
Fugard?
Fugard.
Yeah.
Yes, he died. So there was a big obit on him. And I thought of his plays and how much he really affected things. His
Mm.
work affected South Africa and the awareness around the world of what was going on there came through his work. And in a certain way, what we do as actors may not have, we reflect the human condition,
Mm.
which is why people can relate to it and relate to the struggle and kind of cheer the person on and hope they make it. And if they don't, often, or do, in the dramatic literature or in the experience of coming together, and giving over to an experience on the stage in a safe situation because we all know that the curtain comes down, it's over. Actors know it, the audience knows it. But for that time, we're in a world and an experience that's extraordinary that we can give to each other.
Mm.
So it's a gift to me to that the actor gives to the audience, when he really gives their imagination and really, you like you said, that was a well written thing. Whatever's, then I have to ask myself, okay, let him stay home. You can read it. It's good. Why am I here? Why does the actor have to be here? What else can I bring other than what's on the page?
Mm.
And of course, I grew up with all the great literature in the theater with O'Neill and Tennessee Williams and Miller and all those people. Why did they need me? you know, why do they need an actor? Stay home, read it. Because there is something we can bring that's more. And it's alive in the moment. So that's all exciting to me. And I'm
Oh,
going on and on about it, but I can't help it
oh,
because I
I,
just
You're
love
talking
it.
to two actors.
oh,
We can listen to this all night long.
Yeah,
It's like we
right.
have our own
But you know what I'm
experiences and our own
you've
sense of
Yeah,
it.
it's very
you've inspired
kind of
another question. Maslow came up
yes.
with Maslow came up with 5 stages of needs. This is a question from one of our viewers. Physiological, safety, love, belonging, self-esteem, and self-actualization. Which one of those consumed most of your time over your illustrious career? Do you remember what I said,
Which
baby?
one of those what?
Which one of these 5 things were important in your life? Physiological, safety, l-
All right. Impossible to select one. Are you kidding? The whole thing, everything, every part of it. How can you pick one?
hmm,
How can you pick one? Every one of them has some meaning.
hmm.
I couldn't pick one at all, other than I couldn't pick one.
Okay. Okay, that's valid. So does that mean that
Yeah,
all of them were influences in your life?
no question. Of course, of course. How could they not be?
Mhm.
Mm, mm.
Barbara, I'm Phil, do you have another question, cuz I'm feeling this is such a
You're
beautiful.
right.
You are just you're so beautiful. You're so inspiring, darling. It's We wanted to have you on because of your grace and your wisdom, and you're 93 friggin' years old, looking like you do and sounding like you do. It's fantastic.
Living example.
Living example. So I want to ask you one last question.
Yes. Okay, honey.
We ask everyone who comes on as a guest to leave us with some wisdom. What
Oh
is your
dear.
your oh dear. What would you have to say to inspire someone who finds themselves going through struggles, who want to continue living, to look for their dream, for what they want in their life? What would you say? What comes to you?
Well, I'm not good at this to advise anybody, except I would say it's important to know that you have a right to your imagination. It's your right. It gets taken away in the schools and other places. Okay, something happened and I'm now talking to myself. Are you gone?
No, we're here.
No.
I'm just giving you the platform.
So other than that idea, because a lot of society pushes and shoves at you the cultures you're in and your own, I don't know, some people call it soul, whatever you call it. I call it my imagination, which is my friend. uh, it's important to and oh God, there's so many things. I can't tell you one thing. You got to have a sense of humor, or you'll die. You really need a sense of humor in this world. Uh, so I couldn't begin to give you one piece of advice. I really
Just tell us
I don't
what
know
you
how to
think.
do
It
that.
doesn't have to be one, darling. Just whatever you
Yeah,
feel.
listen, I feel a little careful about that because I don't want somebody to think it's coming from some sage because I'm not. Uh, I really, I guess it's just a question of what good old Willie Shakespeare said, to thine own self be true.
Mm.
Mm.
Didn't he say that?
Yes, he
Yes,
did.
he
He said it
did.
better than I can.
Yes, he did.
Yes, to thine own self be true.
Oh,
What do we
Barbara,
got?
you
Beautiful.
Individual is so special. That's the
Very,
truth of you to keep.
very.
That's all. I
hmm.
love be
Me
talking
too.
with you guys.
Ooh, we love
I
So
love
talking
good.
to
It's
it.
so easy.
you.
This is easy. Like we're in the living room just hanging out. It's all
That's
good.
right. Well, love you,
Big
Love you
time.
so
darling.
much, Barbara.
Thank you for
We did
joining.
it.
Thank you for joining us
So
tonight so
thank
much.
you for having me here. I appreciate it. And I
We will
loved
see you
every
very
minute
soon.
of looking at you. Okay, big
Oh,
hug.
Bye,
love you
Soon,
so much.
sweetness.
Bye
Love
bye.
you.
buddy. All good thoughts.
I'm just, I'm a little emotional, quite honestly. Barbara Bain.
Mm.
You know, so many times, you guys, guys, gals, everyone, thems, theys. What Barbara reminds me of is we complain sometimes about, I don't have enough of this, I don't have enough of that, I don't have enough money, I'm not smart enough, I'm not this enough. You just heard a woman who told you her parents came here not speaking the English language. Sometimes they were cold, they didn't have enough food to eat. And somehow she found her way by her mother just mentioning a painting she wanted to look at, to a museum. And she found her sanctuary. She didn't find her first love dance till she was in college. Acting didn't come to her till she was in her 20s. I think that's so important for us to remember that in our frustration, we're taking time away from what we could be doing with our imagination. Now, imagination doesn't always mean you're a writer, you're a director, you're an actor, you're a singer, blah, blah, blah. Imagination is in life, you guys. What kind of artist are you as a doctor? What kind of artist are you as a secretary? What kind of artist are you just in whatever field feels good to you? And there's something you mentioned, Phil, about how in Mission Impossible, the original series is what we're talking about, no one was more important than anyone else. Everyone was valuable. So if one fell apart, the whole mission fell apart. If one actor in that scene fell apart, the whole scene fell apart. And what Barbara is reminding us of is that we all need to respect and value each other and ourselves. She left us with, to our own self be true, to thine own self be true.
Yeah, crazy. 93 years old.
93.
Still laughing, smiling, upright, with it.
Witty
Why?
as hell.
Love. Love.
Mhm.
Love. She's in love with life, man. Yeah, she said that every one of those things that Maslow came up with are important. Yes, they are, but they all stem from love, to me,
Mhm.
my opinion. And you saw a prime example of it tonight. You saw a 93-year-old example of it. I mean, not only does she love what she does, she continues to burn that fire, and that flame is lit 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Mhm.
That's why she's 93 and still doing what she's doing.
Mhm.
And what I got was that she doesn't overthink this shit. She ain't reflective. She doesn't sit around and, oh, wow, why am I not feeling so good? She just gets up and goes on with the business of living. And
Mm.
that's what made her who she has become. All of the things she said she went through, the difficulty of being in a depression era baby. That's why the challenge of acting was so enticing for her, I believe. because she came from challenge. Easy stuff wasn't, that's easy. I'm not sure that that's valuable for me. I need something that's really going to challenge me, really going to push me, pull me. Dance was a challenge just for her spirit, her soul, to release it. So all of these things that this woman spoke about tonight, to me, are lessons on why you can stay alive and joyous and productive and vibrant well into your 90s or beyond. It ain't about really the age. It's about the integrity of your spirit, where you living, how you living. And if you living good, you going to live for a while. If you living bad, life doesn't go with you. I mean, that's just what I've seen in my life. My experiences has shown me so much of that. It doesn't matter how much money you have, how smart you are, how pretty you are, how handsome you are, or anything like that. Who are you as a human? Who are you as a person? What kind of quality you bring into your life and to others? And then that will hopefully reap the benefits that we were all looking for. A long and fruitful and positive life. You saw it here firsthand with Barbara Bain. So, I'm a student.
Barbara Bain. I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
unless you have anything else to say, my darling, those were our final wonderful words.
That's what that was. I was picking up what you was putting down.
That's right. Shoot, listen to that. Picking up what I was putting down.
Come on now.
You know what, babe?
Well, I love you all.
Well,
I
before
will
we
see
go,
you in a week.
hold
But
on
yeah,
one sec. Let me just let everybody know where to find us. This is where you can find Phil, y'all. Isn't he handsomes? Look at him, some handsomes. This is where you can find me.
Goddess,
Anna Morris.
beautiful.
Jackson. I love it. I love you. And this is where you can find the show. So, hey, you guys, tell your friends, send them to us. This all lives on YouTube. You know where to find us because you're here. Thank you, Instagram, for sticking with us. Thank you, YouTube, everyone. We love you. And we will see all of you guys next week. And have a great weekend. Night, Philly Willy.
Night, Ona. Bye, y'all.